We were pretty famous back in high school. Trust us!
Had a whole future ahead of us, but now we suck.
All that potential now is flowing in the aqueducts.
Through the sands of time, many did forget.
But now our time has come to resurrect. But a podcast?
Sad I know, but can you blame us?
We are desperate to be much more than high school famous.
Hello and welcome to another episode of High School Famous.
Yeah.
It's a podcast where we talk about stuff and not high school.
Yeah, it's a podcast where we desperately attempt to exceed a level of fame, or reach a level of fame that exceeds what we had reached in high school.
Right. Based on the stats, not doing great.
It's looking
rough.
It's looking like we're making a podcast.
Looks like we're no worse off than we were before.
I know. I mean...
I'm Matt, by the way.
Oh, I'm Sean, by the way. By the same way.
I don't like the sound of that.
Hey, it's time for bad news.
Yeah. Bad news!
Bad news! Alright, I think it's my turn to go first.
Sure.
Alright, so, hey, let me fill you guys in on what's been going on in my life. I have an unhealthy obsession with fluids of all types. Right now in my tiny basement, again, I have no less than 88 different fluids in jars on my fluids shelf.
Oh.
These fluids... Huh?
I said, oh.
Oh.
You have a fluids shelf. I didn't see it when I was there.
With such a tiny basement, why I would dedicate any space to a fluids shelf when I could be utilizing the space much more efficiently?
I mean, you said you have an unhealthy obsession.
True. Yeah. Okay. These fluids run the gamut of human, animal, natural, synthetic, and space.
Ooh, space fluids.
Yeah. I'm guessing I put natural down to suggest that maybe it's from plants or something that is not a human or animal source. Anyway.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of natural fluids that aren't human or animal based.
That's true. And I've got some of those.
Right.
You may wonder, what does one do with all of these various fluids or liquids? Well, I'm glad I assumed you would ask. I use them for all sorts of different things, like experiments, cooking, fuel, sexual, and space.
Ooh, space.
Space. You may also wonder, what kinds of fluids do you have in this grand collection? Well, that, my friends, is a mystery even to me. Even though I know what types of fluids I have, I don't know what fluids I have.
You know what types you have doesn't mean you know what the fluids are. You just know where they came from.
Okay. Okay. I made the mistake early on in my collecting to not label any of my jars, so now I only have a general idea of what most of them are, but several of them could be a few different options. Seeing as I have had this collection for years now and I didn't label what they were, I'm not entirely sure what happens to some of these fluids over time, how they may separate or break down or dry out over time, so I've based most of my guesses on look, smell, and taste. Luckily for me, I really love to look, smell, and taste fluids. In fact, most of my experiments are purely taste-based experiments. The experiments are mostly just me drinking fluids. If I'm honest, I'm not actually doing any experiments, and I'm just sad and lonely and drinking fluids all day long. My life is a mess, and my place is covered in various fluids. Everything smells, and I'm unpleasant to be around. Unrelated, I have been vomiting more than usual these last few days.
Interesting. So I'm curious as to, you said some of your jars of fluids could be several different fluids. What's an example of one that, you're not sure if it's this, or this? What's one of your jars? I'm sure you could just grab one of them and let me know.
Oh, sure. Well, so this jar I've got here, I know it came from a kangaroo.
Oh, you specifically know it's kangaroo. Okay.
I know it's kangaroo, but I don't know if it's urine, if it's vomit, if it's diarrhea, or if it's liquefied soul.
Okay. I have a feeling that you would possibly be able to tell the difference between vomit or diarrhea and at least urine. Urine, I feel would stand out as far as what the other two. I would assume the other two would be a thicker or perhaps even a chunkier fluid.
Well, you got to remember, I think you're basing this on human fluids. This is kangaroo fluid we're talking about here.
So you
it's a whole other ballgame.
So you know it was kangaroo. So you've at least labeled the jar kangaroo, but you didn't label kangaroo urine or anything like that. It was just you've labeled your jars as to what they came from, but not what they are.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, this is part of my folly here with all this. At the time, I had only collected one type of fluid from a kangaroo. And so I thought, well, this is my kangaroo fluid. And I had no need to further describe what's in it because I'm like, well, that's that fluid I collected from that kangaroo that one time. And since then, I had expanded my range of fluids that I've collected from various kangaroos. And so I just didn't. By the time I got to a few more jars of kangaroo fluids, I didn't think to specify on the labels.
I mean, at that point, you think you'd be smart if, like, oh, all I'm collecting, like, okay, I've just been collecting, say, urine. And then you're like, oh, no, now I'm also going to collect vomit. So instead of just setting that next to the other kangaroo jar and then being like, oh, well, the one on the left is urine, the one on the right is vomit, I'll remember that. Why didn't you just have one shelf for urine and one shelf for vomit? Then you could have just labeled the shelves and then the jars could still just be kangaroo, wallaby, other Australian animals.
I mean, you'd have to completely eliminate the possibility that anyone could at any point rearrange any of these jars and swap them out on different shelves.
All the more reason to label them properly.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I should have done the jars more thoroughly and not think of this shelf labeling idea, because there's a lot of things that go wrong there. But
I mean, much
more.
Yeah. I mean, in general, your whole labeling process is bad no matter what you're doing.
I was just going to say, I think I've demonstrated that my labeling system is much more fail-safe than labeling the shelves. I mean, what if I decide to rearrange things and I take shelves down and put them up in various, I decide to redesign them and make the room look a little different. Maybe I'm running out of space, so I need to move the shelf so that I have room for something else. And besides, we decided at the beginning that I have one shelf.
Right.
So I can't be having jars set out on multiple shelves with labels on the shelves. Unless you want me to label different sections of the same shelf.
I mean, you could.
But then you get to, well, where on the shelf does the urine actually end and the vomit begin?
Question I ask myself every day.
If there's only a little label taking up a portion of the shelf, the jars are going to expand to the left and the right of that label, and the actual section of urine jars, for example, is not going to be encompassed fully by the label itself. The label isn't going to be wide enough to take up the whole space of the urine jars.
Right. I guess the better I guess the better question of all of this is, instead of having a better labeling system, how about just not do this? Because it's weird. Even you said it's unhealthy.
I mean, it's unhealthy in the aspect that
you're obsessed with it.
Well, I'm obsessed with it, so it's a mental sort of hyper-focused obsession that I need to get over. But also, the consumption of all these fluids is causing a lot of physical damage.
Right.
And I think the reason I'm not stopping is I basically can no longer stand up.
Right.
Or speak.
So you just drink, or you can't speak?
No. No.
Okay.
I can't speak.
Not publicly.
So,
anyway.
Not publicly.
Yeah.
So I've just limited myself to be confined within the spaces of my tiny basement. Reach? Yeah.
So you have to drink and eat what's within reach of you.
The hard part about this now is
believing it?
I also need to figure out how I'm going to continue to acquire more fluids, because this supply I have now is eventually going to run out.
Right.
Then I'll be in real trouble.
Maybe you could make an OnlyFans page
where I drink fluids, or I ask people to pay me in fluids.
Yeah, there you go. That's a double thing right there, because you're already going to be drinking the fluids anyway, so you might as well make that be what your page is about.
Make it,
because there's some people out there that like to see that weird stuff.
There's a niche fetish for anything you can think of.
For sure.
It's out there.
Yeah, so there's probably people out there that are just like, I want to see somebody drinking urine or vomit or diarrhea. I mean, these are the three fluids we've mentioned. I don't know if there's more, but these are the three we keep mentioning.
I mean, whatever natural and space counts as. Whatever those
we've talked about space water in the past.
Pure, what is it? Super pure space water.
Yeah. So either way, I'm sure there's people out there that are into watching somebody do that. So, I mean, I have a feeling at that point, the majority of fluids that you would get in payment would probably be human.
Probably. I mean, unless those that are, I mean, if this is drawing an audience that's naturally,
Gross.
they get pleasure out of watching someone drink various fluids, they might also partake in that activity. So they might have their own collection of unique fluids that I could receive as payment.
And then they might want to pay you more to do like cam to cam stuff. Where you guys can both be doing it together. Should we move on? I mean, this is really gross.
It's really gross, and I mean, I was kind of okay with it being at this unhealthy level when it was still just involving myself.
And now we're bringing in others.
Now we're bringing all these other weird people that want to drink fluids with me, and
right.
It's only just to further feed my need to drink fluids. It's not even to get myself out of this predicament. Like, I'm not doing it to,
you're not trying to like get better.
I'm not trying to get myself through college by drinking fluids on the side.
Right. No, this is just what you do. This is like you're an adult. This is what life is for you now.
This is what life has become for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID's messed us all up.
It's really taken some people to some really dark places.
Right. It's definitely taken its toll on you and your shelf.
Myself or my shelf?
Shelf.
My shelf.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why was it you and yourself?
My shelf is suffering from this?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's barren now.
All right, your turn.
Not like it can't have other shelf children, but like it's
empty?
It's empty.
Like it's empty?
Yeah.
Oh, my poor shelf.
My poor shelf is empty now.
All my shelf wanted was a family.
Right.
All right.
So I gave it this array of Foster jars.
How is that?
I don't know.
Your turn.
Yeah, so should we keep going on yours?
Yeah.
Not actually get to mine. All right, so anyways, here's my bad news. So I recently discovered a common misconception about something, and this discovery has allowed me to live out some of my lifelong dreams. In order to work at a hospital, you need to have completed medical school. In order to volunteer at a hospital, you just need to show up. So I've been volunteering as all sorts of things. One week I volunteered as a surgeon and swapped 2 brains to demonstrate a much more plausible version of the movie Face Off. I volunteered as an X-ray tech and made everyone that came in think they had supposited a DVD of Dude, Where's My Car? So basically I made them think that there was a DVD of Dude, Where's My Car in their body.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I'm not sure how an X-ray would really pick up the fact that it was that specific movie.
Well, they had a special type of paper they used in the cover sheet for those DVDs. For
just that specific
for
movie,
Dude,
or at that time. Okay, gotcha.
For Dude, Where's My Car, it was a cool experimental thing that most people don't know about, but the super fans know about it.
Gotcha.
And so, but yeah, it proved to not really boost any sales, and not enough people really even knew it existed, so it didn't help.
Right.
So they didn't continue to do that with future movies.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, let me continue. I
Same
volunteered
thing with Sean Williams. Same thing with Sean William Scott. They didn't continue with him.
They didn't continue with him either
in any future movies either.
Right. Well, I mean, for a little while, and then
a little bit.
Then they found out. I volunteered as a plastic surgeon and gave a woman's butt breast implants. I also gave a guy what I call African rhinoplasty. Let's just say it'll be really hard for him to put on turtlenecks now. African rhino. Got it. I was worried about that line for a second.
No, it's the animal.
Okay, perfect. I volunteered as a gynecologist and gave a bunch of women healthy feelings. I used a defibrillator to heat my pizza rolls. Then I visited the children's hospital dressed as Wile E. Coyote and used a stick of dynamite to blow myself up. Now I'm dead. Glad I got to do all that and other stuff first. It was a dream come true. So I only blew myself. I didn't blow up the kids.
I don't know. Yeah, you don't. Well, you don't know.
I guess I don't know. I mean,
you died right away.
I died right away, and you know, if they weren't baptized, they don't get to go to heaven. So,
well, that's dark.
That's reality. It's not my rule.
That's another weird OnlyFans page that you could start.
Wait.
I don't know.
You might want to explain that a bit more.
You better.
What? No, what do you mean? What were you getting at by saying that?
The
blowing up kids part or the not going to heaven part?
I meant the blowing up kids part.
Oh, I mean I have a feeling that might be against
OnlyFans.
I don't think there's much
terms of use or whatever.
I don't think there's much that OnlyFans won't condone, but that might be one of them. I mean,
they're okay.
I think you can get away with a lot of stuff on that site.
They're okay with the drinking of mystery liquids,
right.
obtained legally or otherwise.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure most liquid-involved things on that site's fine. I have a feeling child murder might not go over so well.
True.
Because I think at that point, like, drinking weird liquids isn't really illegal, but I feel like murder is.
What if you're drinking the liquid of an endangered species? You think that's illegal? You know what probably is? Drinking stem cells.
Possibly.
That's probably...
So, I guess it would depend on what liquid from the endangered animal you're drinking. And if the animal died giving that liquid. Like... That's
what I'm thinking.
If the animal's still alive, that's whatever. Like,
fine.
if it was... Like, if you're drinking its blood, but it was like... It donated its blood for...
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Any liquid the animal gives consent to donate.
Yeah, you're allowed to drink animal fluids as long as it's consensual.
And space fluid.
Consensual animal fluids.
Yeah. That makes it sound like the fluids have to agree.
Right.
Well, that certainly was some news, wasn't it?
I like how even with my news, we didn't really go on any further with mine. We just went right back into yours.
I know. I was thinking about that. So out of all these things you did at the hospital, what was your favorite? What was the thing you were looking forward to doing the most?
Oddly enough, one thing I didn't even mention in here was just, eating at the cafeteria, which I could have done anyway. I didn't have to volunteer there to eat at the cafeteria in the hospital. You can just do that.
You can?
Yeah.
You could just do that?
I believe so. It depends.
You don't have to be a patient or like a family member of a patient to
no, most hospitals
or a worker?
I wouldn't think so. Because there's Abbott Hospital in Minneapolis. There, they have a McDonald's inside. You can just go in there and eat.
Oh well, I suppose you're always buying the food.
That's the cafeteria. Yeah. You're still paying for the food. You're not just getting it. Yeah, it's not like I'm stealing patients' meals.
Well, I was picturing a cafeteria where you just walk up and just get served food like you're at school or something. People could just walk in and just get free food then.
Right.
But
I don't think they're always
buying it. No, you always have to buy the food. It's been a while since I've
I think even if you're a patient, like the food, like if you're a patient that's like not going anywhere and they're bringing you meals, I still think in the end you're paying for that.
I think so too. I think it's
I think you get billed. Yeah, you get billed for. I mean, they'll bill you for everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And all the fluids that they take. Holy cow!
So why didn't you write about that in the news? In your news, then, if that was your favorite thing?
Because that wasn't what this was about.
Got it. So
this was me discovering a common misconception about something. I was just telling you.
Got it.
What I could do.
Out of the things listed, what would you say is the favorite thing you did as while volunteering?
I already told you about the favorite thing I did while volunteering.
No, when I asked you, all you said was there's something you didn't tell me about, and that was eating at the cafeteria.
Right. That was my favorite thing. Food. That was the favorite thing I did while I was volunteering.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm asking you. You don't want to pick one of the things that you listed, do you? I
mean, I can if I'm forced to. I guess my favorite thing would probably be. I mean, I'm unclear what healthy feelings I was giving the women. I guess they just felt good. Like they felt better about themselves afterwards.
Yeah, I think it's a strange wording you chose. I mean, you made them feel healthy,
right?
But you decided to give it a really weird spin, which kind of maybe gave it some implication or make it seem like you were implying something else,
right?
But I don't know. What did you do I don't know what you did.
I mean, just normal gynecologist stuff, looked, listened.
Listened?
Yep. Used not all 5 of my senses, but most of them.
Yeah.
I specifically left one out.
I bet you I know which one.
The one that you mainly used
in my news, yeah.
Yeah.
But all of your patients developed a sense of dread.
Right. They felt healthier, but felt worse at the same time.
Yeah. They felt healthier, but they didn't like how it made them feel.
Yeah, they were physically healthier, but emotionally dreadful.
Yeah, almost to the point where they're going to start drinking fluids out of jars.
I made somebody feel like both good and uncomfortable at the same time. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of fluids as well. This is a fluid-filled episode.
It really is.
Yeah, the fluids are flowing. Let's do something else. This is a bad way to start an episode.
All right, we're done with news because we're all out of news.
I think we were out a while ago, and we.
I think so.
That overstayed its welcome.
I think we unnecessarily expanded on this news more than probably any other news we've done.
Oh God, yeah. It's what you get. It's what you get.
Yeah. Well, not a lot interesting. Has occurred, but on Saturday night.
Yeah.
At about.
I think I know what you're going to talk about.
You don't.
'Cause I saw a Facebook post.
You do.
Yes. Okay.
Then you do know.
No need to go on.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Saturday night.
No, go ahead.
Something happened.
Something happened.
Matt, what do you got?
All right. No, go ahead.
No, I have. There was an alert on my driveway camera that somebody was spotted. There was motion detected, and I could see a guy who was standing near where the little punch thing is to put in the code to get into the driveway.
Right.
But the footage, the camera started recording right before the lights kicked on, so I don't know. I didn't see what he was up to right before that, so I couldn't tell if he was going for that or if he was just looking around.
Right.
But my driveway or my garage lights kicked on, and he looked up, startled, and then kind of realized there was a camera there.
Directly at the camera too.
Yeah,
like
right
almost,
at it.
Like it was weird. Like he almost looked up at it almost before the light. Like it looked like he was looking up at it, like while the lights were coming on. Like, oh yeah, that does work.
It was quick. It was
weird.
quick. Yeah, and then he then took off, but you could tell when I watched it, and someone else pointed this out because I put it up on Nextdoor, which is someone's like, yeah, it looks like with the motion and the way the shadowing was, it looked like he kind of went off to the side right at the edge of the driveway and then just kind of stopped there for a little bit.
Oh,
like
really?
Maybe he was just making sure that someone wasn't coming after. I don't know what he was doing, but
right.
He eventually left. But the weird thing is we have our garbage cans right there.
Right.
So our driveway is butt up against an alley. And so our garbage cans just live right at the edge of that driveway, right at where the alley is. So the garbage people come and I don't have to like take my garbage can down every week. It's just sitting
there
where it's
all the
supposed
time.
It's just there all the time. And there's always one right up against the garage, and then the recycling and so forth. So the garbage can that's next to the garage was moved into the alley and pushed up against the side of the garage. Almost to make a
climate?
No. Almost to make a clear path to get back to the alley without having to go down my driveway a little bit and go around the garbage cans. Like he made a gap between the garage and the next garbage can so he could just run straight through and get to the alley. I think if it would just be quicker than having to, because we have 2 garbage cans and 2 recycling cans, so it's really 4 big trash cans to get around. And then there was also coincidentally a bunch of cardboard boxes piled up next to the recycling can because it was too big to fit in the can. So there would have been a lot for him to have to get around if he had to get away quickly.
Right.
So I think that's why the can was moved to make that little bit of a gap that could make a straight line from where he was
he needed to make
get
a
out
quick
to the
getaway.
If in case the lights flipped on and he noticed there was a camera there. But
yeah.
So then I moved the garbage can back, and then a little bit later in the day on Sunday, we noticed that all of the garbage cans were in the alley.
Weird.
And we put them back, and then later on in the same day, one of the recycling cans, the one that was next to the boxes, was moved to the other side of the boxes. So someone's been coming back multiple times and rearranging things around. When all the garbage cans, weird. I know, and when all the garbage cans were moved, it was windy that day, but it was like, well, maybe it was the wind, but then at least one of them would have tipped over.
Right.
And the garbage would have spilled out into the alley. So it's just weird, but someone else posted on Nextdoor a couple blocks over the same guy, just kind of like their camera was pointed toward the alley. And you could see him like kind of walk up to someone's driveway and kind of peek over a little bit, then kind of walk back out and go and walk back down the alley a little further. They were just out. They were just casing the area to try to find someplace they could get into. And then somebody had left not the full big garage door open, but the regular side garage door that opens like a normal door. They had left that door unlocked, and they said that about $2,000 worth of stuff was taken from their garage that night.
Yeesh.
So that's the first time that anything of note has popped up on one of my cameras.
Yeah,
it's
other
usually
than
just
a bird or a squirrel.
Yeah, it's usually a bird that's like a person has been spotted in the backyard, and I'll pull up the footage, and it's a bird that's literally about a foot away from the camera, so his head looks big.
Right.
So it mistakes it for a person all the time.
Because you have you have a camera out the front, out the back, and then out on the garage, right? Just you have three, or do you have? Okay.
Yeah, there's a camera.
Now you almost need to point one at your damn bins so you can see what the hell's going on.
Well, and yeah, the way it's faced now, you can see 3 of the 4 bins. The one closest to the driveway, it's out of its field of view, so you can't see that one quite as well. You can see the bottom of it, but I have these cameras. You can set up zones so that cars driving by on the freeway aren't setting off the camera. So I either have to expand that a little bit, but we're talking about getting additional cameras now, like one that's on the side of the house so you can see the rest of the backyard, one that's maybe facing the alley, and then maybe like a doorbell camera to see a different angle of the front yard in case someone comes in from a different part. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's been
crazy.
Great.
Weird.
Yep. Oh, and then I reported it, but it just counts as a suspicious activity report.
Right.
And they haven't even. They said if they feel like they need the footage, that they would contact me back. And they haven't yet.
If somebody got robbed just down the street from you at this point, then
that should be enough.
That's the best suspect at the moment. Whoever that guy is, especially if somebody else got footage of him lurking around too.
Yeah. So we have at least 2 people that have this guy now. Grant, my footage is like night vision because the light kicked on, but it wasn't maybe quick enough. The guy was out of there before the camera maybe switched to regular mode once the lights were on. Or I don't know if it got bright enough to go into regular mode.
Okay.
But the footage in the alley is actually regular footage. It's not night vision footage. So you can see the colors of his jacket and everything more clearly.
Yay! Weird, creepy stuff.
Living in the city.
Yeah. So,
all right, Matt. So it sounds like you may have thought of some type of a game.
I thought it's not necessarily a game as much as it's me just putting you on the spot.
Okay, great.
It's a list of slang words, and basically I thought what I would do is I would tell you the slang word, and then just have you use it in a sentence and see if you use it properly.
Oh, and so I'm not trying to guess what it means?
Yeah, because I didn't have enough time or fortitude to put together an actual game.
Got it.
So I thought this might be fun, is I'll just tell you what the slang word is, and then see if you can use it properly in a sentence.
Okay.
So this list is 40 words long. I'll pick and choose.
Let me find a pen quick so I can jot these down.
You are never prepared. I always tell you to bring a pen and have a pad of paper handy so that you can jot down ideas for episode titles.
I have the paper. The pen was just 10 feet behind me on my desk. So come on.
Terrible.
All right. I'm back.
All right.
Glad you were able to fill that awkward time for how long I was gone.
I'm going to put a huge gap in there. I'm going to edit a large gap.
It's a special 2-hour episode.
1 hour gap. Sean looking for a pen. All right. So Sean, your first slang word is tea.
Like T-E-E?
T-E-A? Like
that's a slang,
drink.
But it's a slang word.
Yep. I'm so happy you already don't know the first one, because then that just gives better chance that you probably won't know what the rest of them are either. So, yes, Sean, use tea in a sentence.
I mean, I've heard the term. You don't know nothing about the tea in China. I'm guessing that's
your sentence?
No. I'm gonna say, slap me with some tea.
And what does that mean?
What? Oh,
what does that mean to you? Slap me with some tea.
It means give me the scoop. Give me the info. Slap me with some tea. Everyone knows that.
Oddly enough,
It's not too far off?
You're not far off when you told me what it was. So, tea basically is truth. Like, spill the tea means, like, tell me the truth.
I thought that was spill the beans.
No, I mean...
It's also spill the tea?
I think spill the beans. Spill the beans is more so that you accidentally give something up. Like, oh, I spilled the beans.
That's sure. That's kind of like, I suppose that's kind of like letting the cat out of the bag.
Spilling the tea is like, if I'm telling you something like, oh man, some crazy shit just went down, and you're like, ooh, spill the tea. Then tell me the truth.
Now that you say that, I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah.
All right. Done. I was close.
You were oddly close. I don't know how you got there, but yeah, you were oddly close. Skirt. SKRT. Skirt.
SKRT.
Yeah.
I'm gonna...
I didn't know this one before this.
I'm gonna skirt over there.
And what does that mean?
It means like, to...
Like get there quickly or...
To get over there quick. Like, kind of like scoot over or skirt over.
Okay, so it's a synonym for stop.
Skirt.
So basically it's...
Yep, like a screeching halt kind of a thing?
Yep. So basically if somebody's telling you a story and you want them to like... You go skirt to them, apparently, which is rude.
Oh, sure.
And then basically tell them to revisit that part of the story.
Got it.
I'm going to skip that one. Shook.
Shook. Shook, I don't know.
Yo.
I mean, there's like, you got me shook. You got me shook is something, but she was a total shook. And that is when a female is cast as Captain Hook in a play versus a male. It's a shook.
They call her Captain Shook.
It's an insider.
It's a she-hook?
No. The character is still called Captain Hook, but it's sort of an inside baseball type of a theater term. Like, oh, we had to find a shook for this one.
A she-hook?
A she-hook,
kind of like how Peter Pan used to always be played by women.
Yeah.
They called her
only this
Speeder.
Sheeter Pan. Sheeter Shan?
No, shook is just to be shaken up by something. Like, oh, okay, it had me shook.
Oh, okay. So I was close on that one. Okay, go on.
Sort of, yeah. Well, you were close on it. You were close on it originally, and then you changed it to she-hook.
Yeah.
So you weren't close at all.
So, right. So what you're saying is I almost had it. All right, next word. I'm going to put a check mark on those that I'm close.
You will not. I'm also not adding dings and buzzes to this. Because it's
why not?
Really that kind of a thing. Salty.
Salty, okay.
Some of these you should know.
Okay. Man, he's being real salty lately.
Which means?
Which means he's in a poor mood, or he's being kind of aggro and angry.
Saying somebody's salty, being salty in retaliation for bitter behavior.
Sure, yeah. Check mark.
You should know what the word woke means, so I think I should skip woke.
Sure.
Sure you know, or sure I should skip it because you just want me to skip it because you don't know what woke means.
No, woke is being like you're socially conscious and you're aware of... Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. Receipts.
Receipts. RECEIPTS?
Correct.
Okay, let's see. I'm here for my receipts. Which is...
Which means?
Which means you're doing your books. You're doing your end of the year books. It's
so it's not so much slang as just you're looking for your actual receipts.
Yeah. I'm digging for my
books.
I mean, yeah. It's
receipts is saying, so if I walked up here and like if you were telling me a story and I said, "Well, show me the receipts." Basically, show me the proof. Yep.
Got it. And if you did that to me, I would totally skirt you so fast.
Skirt me and tell me to start over.
Is that what it means?
I don't know. It's basically like stop. Yeah, just stop me.
Gotcha. To stop you, but not to be like stop. Say that again because I missed it. Is that?
That was means? Kind of partly what it was saying, but
gotcha. Check mark.
Beat. BEAT.
Beat. I'm on the beat. On the beat. Why am I writing my own sentences down?
That's you don't have to write the whole sentence. That's your sentence. I'm on the beat.
I'm on the beat, and that means like I'm out casing. I'm getting the info. I'm looking out for bad doings.
So in this particular case, beat is basically saying like if you were to put on makeup and you did a really good job, you'd say,
Already done.
"Oh man,
Yep.
you beat that face up. Like you beat it up. You did such a good job putting that makeup on." It doesn't really
Okay.
make sense, but that's what it is.
Like, man.
Basically saying like I'm going to beat that face basically just means I'm going to put makeup on that face really well. It
So,
sounds
if you-
opposite of what it should be.
So, if you do really well at the end of the day at removing the makeup, would you say, man, you really beat that face off?
Move to the next word. I'm skipping a few.
I'm going to put a check mark on that one.
No, you will not.
You can't stop me.
will Not.
It's not like it's going to affect the outcome of this episode.
Let's see.
Give me a good one. You're throwing weak stuff at me like salty and tea.
Clock.
Okay. He came at me all clock like,
Which means
he came at me with a very precise rhythm. Came at me. He's all clockish.
Yeah. So clocking somebody is basically insulting somebody.
See, I thought it was. I mean, really, it's like punching somebody. I'm going to clock you one.
Yeah, basically, that's the reference it's making is like you're
But in
hitting
this-
somebody, but you're hitting them with an insult.
With an insult.
Yep.
Gotcha. And that. So
you weren't close.
If-
no check mark.
if so if I get clocked, it
Yeah.
might get me shook,
Right.
and then I might also be salty
Right.
after that. And if the insult were accurate, you might say someone gave me the tea,
Right.
right? Okay. So based on that summary, I'm going to put a check mark next to that one. All right. What's the next one?
Shade.
Shade. Well, that's obvious.
Is it?
That's like bad mouthing someone,
Yeah, throwing shade.
throwing shade.
Right.
If the next one is shots fired, then I'm just gonna say you should have come up with a better list.
I didn't make this list. I'm just reading a list that I found.
All right, so
I'm
shade, we got that
am just
covered.
now realizing that it's on the Oprah magazine website.
Oh no, this is gonna get real controversial. This is not gonna be an easily digestible list.
Right. I think I'm not going to do this one because I think I've already called you this a few times, but the word is basic.
Basic. Okay.
I mean, we don't have to do this one if you know what it is, but go give it a shot, I guess. You're writing it down.
Basic. Let's see. That car is basic.
Which means
The car. That means it means you don't get any upgrades.
I mean,
It's a standard package. You know, you've got your
in the case
you got
of
your
the car,
alloy wheels. You got your alloy wheels. You got your backup camera.
Ooh, alloy is not usually basic.
I know what kind of cars you shop for.
Usually steel frames with hubs is basic.
Like I said, I don't know what kind of cars you're shopping for, but man, the dealerships I go to, the cars I get,
Sounds like you're not
Alloy's
going to
basic.
basic dealerships.
alloy is basic.
But basic isn't really even almost much of a slang word. It's just the way it gets used. So basically saying like, I mean, a lot of times it's used as like basic bitch. Basically somebody who's just into pumpkin spice lattes or dumb shit.
Is it just like they're boring
They're
or they're
unoriginal.
like
They're kind of like, yeah. So you're basic.
got it?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of knew that.
Right.
All right, what else we got? I guess I just got some.
A few.
I just got some. You're trying to throw me some basic shade, and I'm not impressed.
Yeah, I was just seeing how many you would use after a while. Just curious how many of them you would use properly in a sentence. So let's do lit. L-I-T, lit.
Okay, well, this is a couple things. I mean, if let's see, I could say this party is lit.
Literally, that is like the example.
That's exactly what it says.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I would have preferred if you would have used the sentence, "This fire is lit."
this street lamp is lit. this oil lamp in the street from the early 1900s is lit, and I feel like proclaiming it to the town folk. Boy, this oil lamp to light the street is lit, Mrs. Pennyweather. Would you like a ride home on my horse?
Or my penny farthing.
So what I meant by, now you didn't let me elaborate. What I meant was this party is lit. This party is slightly intoxicated on alcohol and or drugs. So check mark. All right, what's the next one?
Low key. Most of these you should know.
Low key.
I didn't proofread a lot of this list, so they aren't as like deep cuts as they should be.
he is as intriguing a villain as Loki.
Yep, perfect.
It means
Check.
that your villainy. It means that your villainy is dynamic and intriguing and entertaining, and you would like for that person and their villainy to appear in more than one movie.
Oh, then no, you were wrong.
I was wrong.
Yeah, low key just means like you kind of want to do something, like saying like I low key kind of want a beer right now. Like I could low key go for a beer.
So like
2 words.
You want to. So you want to. No.
Word.
So you want to low key get a beer. So you want to like just sort of make a beer appear. You know, like in a trickster kind of way, like mischief. Like you want to do it in like a mischievous way.
Stop trying to make fetch work. Stop trying to make fetch work, Sean.
Hold on. Hold on.
I'm quoting a movie.
I don't have fetch on my list.
I'm quoting a movie, Sean. You're well aware of what I just did.
So
you've seen the movie.
Well,
it's one of the few movies you've seen.
Sadly, why is that one of the few movies I've seen? What did you mean by that then? To get a beer?
Well, I'm just saying, like
you want to hang out and
saying something's low key is just saying
with a
like
scepter.
You kind of. Here is the sentence they give. It's better than me just saying what I said. I might order a salad, but I am low key craving the pasta. So saying like I'm probably gonna get a salad, but I'm kind of craving pasta. It's basically
I get it. It's man, I want to get a salad, but I'm low key craving a pasta.
Low-key?
I'm low key craving a pasta.
It's 2 words. Stop making it into 1 word. It's not LOKI. It's LOW space.
No,
K-E-Y.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You want some straight up Asgardian pasta, is what you're saying. Or you want to, I know what you want to do. You want to use your scepter, which has the Mind Stone, and mind control someone to get you some pasta, like what Loki would do. Check mark.
This was a bad idea.
All right,
Sean.
Is the next word Ultron?
Next word is thirsty.
Thirsty. These pretzels are making me thirsty.
You're just using the words literally. It's slang. Use it in a slang way. That's just the word thirsty in a sentence.
That story was thirsty.
And what does that mean?
Like it's got juicy details and possibly shade.
If it has juicy details, how is it thirsty?
It's slang, dude. It doesn't have to make sense. Like, why does Salty talk about how someone's acting?
I low-key don't want to play this anymore.
How is it said? What's the real answer?
Thirsty is basically like... So this is the example. Don't like all of their Instagram posts. It'll make you look thirsty. So basically it makes you look like you're craving it. Like, so if you start
like you're just someone who just likes
around
I gotcha.
Park, it'll make you look thirsty. Yeah.
Gotcha.
If you pile all those kids into your van,
you look
thirsty.
Especially if the kids are basic.
Right.
You don't want to look thirsty for some basic kids. I mean, at least make them be like, cool kids. Cuz then, you want stuff to get salty.
You should stop. You should stop talking.
Don't
talk about basic salty children.
I mean, I'm just giving you the tea. I'm just giving you the tea here.
I hope you're not.
I mean, are you?
I really hope you're not giving me the tea.
I mean, what are you, not woke or something? Like this is the world, man. This is you got to beat the clock on this topic.
I regret everything.
Otherwise, you're left in the shade and you're no longer lit.
That's the proper use of shade.
If you don't beat the clock, you will be left in the basic shade, and that means you will no longer be lit, and you might fall asleep before you're woke.
So I originally looked up this list because I thought that's what I would when I was thinking about rewriting your news for this week, because I wasn't super happy with the fluid one, but yet the fluid one brought on a lot of conversation. I was going to look these up, and I was going to use these and basically do exactly what you just did. I would just use as many of them as possible, but properly.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. And then I decided not to do that and do this instead, and I'm not proud of any of it.
It kind of produced what you might have written.
You did something.
Skirt!
You used some of them. Don't skirt me.
Skirt.
God damn it. That's going to be a thing now, isn't it?
Hold on. I did really well.
You did okay. You don't base you did really well on the check marks you gave yourself, because a lot of those were not were not right.
Look, show me the opposing receipts then.
I will show you nothing. I could go back through the list, but I closed it already.
Receipt me that I did poorly.
Okay, so asking for the receipts in that context doesn't actually mean I'm going to give you the evidence.
But
wait, never mind. Yeah, I'm not going to give you the evidence. Is basically what I'm saying. I already know which ones you got close and which ones you got wrong, and it doesn't matter because we're not actually keeping score anyways. Because it wasn't really a game. It was more so just curious as to how many of them you would get right, and I was more so just kind of curious as to what sentences you would come up with.
What sentences I would, yeah.
Yeah, well, so I think what I need to do is, if I'm going to do this to you again, I need to look up less common slang, like maybe like old slang. I thought
it would be more obscure slang.
Yeah, I think this was just kind of a
what can you expect from Oprah? What can you expect from Oprah?
I don't think she wrote the article.
She's kind of basic. I don't mean to throw any shade, but Oprah's pretty basic. I'm just giving you the tea. Shook.
You just don't just say shook.
Skirt. Loki.
Like, this is at this point right now, you're literally just like a dad trying to embarrass their child in front of their friends by coming in and pretending you're all hip, which is a slang word I didn't use today.
Yeah, but that would just make me come off as thirsty. If I'm just desperately trying to embarrass my kid in front of his friends, right? I would just come off as thirsty, and that's not what I want.
You're trying to get attention.
Yeah,
I mean, at that point, yeah, you're not coming off as thirsty. You are thirsty.
I mean, I'd rather spend my time clocking the shade so that
you can't clock the shade.
I can get my beat lit, real low key like, so that I get my tea shook and I'm left with a real salty skirt.
This episode is unlistenable.
Receipts. Hey everyone, bye. This has been High School Famous episode time.
Sure has been.
I'm still Sean.
I don't know what I am anymore.
Skirt.
If you like us, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as HSFamousPod. Email us at highschoolfamous@gmail.com. If you really love us, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/highschoolfamous. Remember, we love you and want to have your babies.